Why Jesus called the devil the father of the lie. It's based on John chapter 8:44.
The other kids are outside. You sure you don't want to go out and join?
No thanks. I'm finishing putting all my research together for my talk Tuesday.
Oh, what's it about?
Why Jesus called Satan the father of the lie.
Well, that sounds interesting. Let's see what you have. You want to go over it with me?
Sure. To explain why Jesus called Satan this, we need to go back to the very beginning. We need to find out who he was and what he did. That will help us understand why he is the father of the lie. But before we do that, let's read this account of John 8:44. Would you like to read that?
Okay, John 8:44. It says, "You are from your father the devil, and you wish to do the desires of your father. That one was a manslayer when he began, and he did not stand fast in the truth, because truth is not in him. When he speaks the lie, he speaks according to his own disposition, because he is a liar and the father of the lie."
Here Jesus is talking to the religious leaders during the Festival of Tabernacles.
Right. And you know, he was showing them that because they chose to reject him, their father was not Jehovah like they claimed, but in fact the devil, the father of the lie.
Yes. Now let's go back to the beginning when Jehovah created the angels. The first, as we know, was his firstborn son, who later became known as Jesus. Then he created more angels, other sons of God. Although they were perfect and righteous, one would become jealous of God, wanting worship for himself. He became Satan the devil. Satan was able to mislead other angels.
That's exactly right, Dave.
Then I was going to show you that what he did in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve could have lived there forever, but they were to keep the command Jehovah gave them. Let's read that command at Genesis chapter 2, verse 17. I'll read that. And it says, "For as for the tree of the knowledge of good and bad, you must not eat from it. From the day you eat from it, you will positively die." So all they had to do was be obedient and not eat from that tree.
Yes, you know, Jehovah said that if they did, they would positively die.
Well, remembering that angels, being selfish, wanting to be the god of the world, coveting worship for himself, he saw his opportunity to try and gain it. So let's see what he did to gain it. That is found in Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 through 6. Would you like to read that?
Okay. Genesis 3:1 through 6. It says, "Now the serpent proved to be the most cautious of all the wild beasts of the field that Jehovah God had made. So it began to say to the woman, 'Is it really so that God said you must not eat from every tree of the garden?' At this the woman said to the serpent, 'Of the fruits of the trees of the garden we may eat. But as for the eating of the fruit of the tree that is in the middle of the garden, God has said, you must not eat from it. No, you must not touch it, that you do not die.' At this the serpent said to the woman, 'You positively will not die. For God knows that in the very day of your eating from it, your eyes are bound to be opened, and you are bound to be like God, knowing good and bad.' Consequently, the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was something to be longed for to the eyes. Yes, the tree was desirable to look upon, so she began taking of its fruit and eating of it. Afterwards she gave some also to her husband and with her, and he began eating it."
So here Satan tries to convince Eve that Jehovah was lying, that if she ate from the tree of knowledge of good and bad, she would actually become just like him. Let's look back at verse 4 of Genesis chapter 3. Here we actually read the first lie ever told. He maliciously said, "You positively will not die." So Eve and then Adam ate from the tree. Although they did not die that day, they were sent out of the Garden of Eden, grew old, and died.
Yes, they did.
So referring back to John 8:44, when Jesus called Satan the father of the lie, he was saying this because Satan told the first lie ever. Because of this lie he told, and lying with us is all around us. There along with becoming a god, well, a bad god, he became the father of the lie.
Well, Faith, it sounds like you pretty much have it all under control. You know, if I didn't know why Jesus called Satan father of the lie, I would know now.
Thanks, Grandma.
Okay, well, let's get some milk and cookies, okay?
Sounds good.
another first-timer. Faithy did a very nice job with your talk this evening. You know, there's a thing about adults that we believe that, you know, if a person doesn't look you in their eye when they're talking to you, then they're probably not telling you the truth, or they're not sure of what they're talking about. And I noticed that you quite frequently looked into Grandma's eyes as you were talking to her. And when you look into someone's eyes, what it mentions in the school guidebook in chapter 13 is that it shows conviction. And it gives the person that you're talking to the assurance that, hey, I know what I'm talking about and I believe it. And so the way you spoke to Grandma this evening showed that you understood why Jesus referred to Satan as the father of the lie, and you can explain it to somebody else if you had to. So you did a very nice job in your talk. We appreciate the efforts of all of our young people. We had 2 students for the first time this evening, so you young ones, you're doing great. We appreciate all your efforts.